What's good? What's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Buzzfest 29, Big Warm, Houston, Texas. Round of applause. Give it up for Eric from Saving Abel, who will be taking the stage. What time are you playing?
At 4, I believe.
At 4 o'clock. And I have to say, whenever you play Buzzfest, it's always messy in a good way. It's always a good time. How many of these have you done now?
This is our third or fourth. They're always fun.
Yeah. No, we hear that from bands over and over again where they're just like, Buzzfest and Houstonians just throw down like not too many other people on this planet.
We were here in Houston back in June, I believe. And it was like the crowds are always great, always fun to hang out with. And
right.
So we look forward to it.
So at this stage in the game, when you've been through this many times, Houston knows you as well as they do. Do you find like every single time you roll back through a town, you see different faces, and do you see the same ones over and over again?
You recognize a few, and you see new ones, and when you see new ones, that means you're doing your job. That people are coming out to see you, and hopefully they're new fans. And but yeah, the familiar faces are really good to see, because you're on the road a lot. So seeing people it really keeps you happy.
Do you get to that point where you feel as though almost like your audience, when you see them over and over again, it's almost like sort of like a family or class reunion? You're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you since blah, blah, blah.
Right, that's what's cool with festivals and stuff or radio shows. Like every band here, we know, most of the bands here we know, and if we don't know the bands, we know the crew guys and stuff. So like a family reunion is a great way to describe it. Yeah. Do you feel like there's any one band in particular here that knows that incriminating and highly embarrassing story about you that you're hoping they won't tell the rest of your relatives, i.e. us? Probably 10 years.
10 years. So we'll talk to them.
We've had a lot of fun together.
10 years are an interesting one because their front dude, Jesse, is so like stoic and intellectual and sort of like elevated, and the rest of his band are just not the same way at all.
They always pull surprises out. There's always something fun for the crowd.
Right. The dudes in 10 years have always taught me these absolutely filthy, disgusting, I can't even say them on the air, Urban Dictionary definitions of just incredibly bizarre and inane sexual acts. And they teach me the dictionary definition of them. And then as it turns out, they've reenacted most of them on a tour bus at some stage. And like, have you ever been privy to any of that?
I'm pleading the fifth.
So one thing I always, if I get a chance to ask, I have two big questions for bands whenever I get a chance to meet them, just because I find it personally interesting. Before you were doing this, because the audience sees you on stage and go, oh my God, immortal rock superstar. But before you were like this big ass rock star, you were a guy working a job, and just like all of us. Well, what were you doing before you became the rock god bass player that you are today?
Building houses.
Really?
Yeah, I've done it for 6 years, married with kids, and built houses, but always played music. Always, even through high school, through junior high and stuff, I always had music going, and found out early at a young age that I knew about music and knew how to write and knew this chord goes good to this chord and could tell stuff out, and it finally paid off. I got a career out of it.
That's awesome. And actually that segues neatly into the next question I always like to ask people. Once I got the opportunity to talk to Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains, and I was like, hey, what song or artist or record or show was it that made you just go, this is it, this is what I want to do with my life, it's gonna be music? And he said it was Elton John. What was it for you?
Man, I was a guitar player and then got into Tool pretty heavy and realized that that's a bass guitar. So Tool kind of got me on bass. Seven Dust is a band that really got me into music. Like I listened to it and just over and over and over, and noticing cool things that the drums are doing and cool things the guitars are doing, and down to production and everything. So I owe a lot of like Seven Dust. They're some really good friends, and we're blessed to be friends with them. And
I was gonna say, like, what with you guys both being Southern boys, there's a very good chance that you've played a show or two with Seven Dust or gotten a chance to meet them. If and when that's happened, did you go up to him and be like, man, listening to your records, this is why I'm doing this today?
That's that has came up. We've done quite a few shows, and we've done 2 tours with them.
Right.
So I think on our first real tour with them, we're just hanging out one night, and I was like, hey. Talked to a couple of them, and it was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, that's the band that really influenced me. And of course, I mean, there's a lot of others, but that's one that I pretty much just developed and warped my brain.
Right, gotcha. And there's one final question I have about the sort of rock star experience. When you went from being a guy that was building houses to a guy that like, Oh my God, I've got a record deal. I've got a tour bus. I've got what was the first thing like that you splurged on? Your very first ever rock star indulgence?
It was a big one. I built a house.
Well, you got to cut yourself a good deal on that. If you build houses, you got to imagine you can give yourself a light finger discount on that.
Not really. I mean, it could, but it's kind of hard to build your own house when you're on tour.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to finally get into something and put my family in something that we're gonna have the rest of our lives.
Oh, that's entirely too sweet. I was hoping it had more to do with hookers and heroin or something like that, but no.
We can talk about that later.
Not only an amazing guy, but a fantastic family man and part of an incredible band who you get to see at 4 o'clock today. Ladies and gentlemen, big warm round of applause for Eric from Saving Abel.
Thank y'all.